Chris is once again going to be involved in this showdown. This time he's going to be taking on Chase. Bob, once again, you're going to be judging this whole thing to see who you agree with more. Chris hates Puka Nacua. He has him ranked at 17th. Oh my God. Maybe we'll tie it a little bit Cooper Kupp here during this debate. We'll have to see. Chase has him all the way up at 8. So we'll start with Chase. Chase, you have him at 8. Why are you confident Puka Nacua can replicate what he did a year ago?
Well, it's not just me. It's pretty much the industry. Whether you're a professional, whether you're outside of it, his ADP and his ECR are both right there around wide receiver 7. He's going 10th in drafts. He's a first round pick almost across the board. People are expecting that. Now, listen, it's a lazy and easy thing to say that, oh, well, he got all his points because Kupp was injured at the beginning of the year. Listen, in the games that they played together, Puka Nacua still out-targeted Cooper Kupp, okay? In the games that they were both on the field together, he still had more targets than Cooper Kupp. So it's not unreasonable to think that over the course of an entire season, if Cooper Kupp can stay healthy, that could repeat itself. Now, granted, Puka Nacua's targets did drop in those games by a whole target a game. He went from averaging 9.4 targets a game to averaging 8.5 targets per game, okay? But even if you take those targets away, if he can score at a similar rate to last year in terms of his points per target, he still was a top 10 scoring wide receiver. Even if you take that basically one target or so a game away, he still was a top 10 scoring receiver. There is still more room for him to be used in the red zone. Remember, he only had 6 touchdowns last year. There is room for him to positively regress up in his touchdown count. And, bottom line is Puka Nacua, he's not the fastest receiver in the league. He's not the tallest. He's not the strongest. But he does a very good job of winning against man and press coverages. He gets open, and he's perfect for what Sean McVay wants him to be doing in this offense. When he runs the routes that he runs most often, he wins those routes, and Stafford does not miss him. And he can run those routes from all over the field, from any of the 3 receiver positions. He doesn't have to just play one or the other. He can play outside. He can play that big slot inside and take over for Kupp if need be. He can play anywhere on the field. He can play in the backfield and go in motion. He's a perfect weapon for what McVay wants him to do in this offense. Matt Stafford is still there. Cooper Kupp is going to be 31 years old, and I just think that there's no reason that Nacua can't repeat his same level of performance from last year. He may not end up wide receiver 4, but that's not where I have him ranked. I have him ranked as a wide receiver 1, and I think that's exactly what he'll be at the end of the year.
Okay, Chris. So why do you hate young guys? Just because you're old, you got to represent the old guys? What do you got over there?
No, this is me pushing back at the industry, as Chase kind of alluded to with the Puka Nacua. This is the flavor of the month. The newest guy. Who's the newest guy that we want to go love so much and make him replace the old guy? Because that's what we love to do in America.
Marvin Harrison.
And, well, I think right now we're looking at a guy that Puka Nacua was very good, and I'm not going to question that at all. And I think 17 is pretty fair of him. We see usually that receiver 2 in an offense finish around that range, between 15 to 17, which is pretty high for a second receiver. What I do knock on him is the range where he can finish when he has those targets you're talking about, Chase. He had 160 targets last year, had 1,480-something yards, 6 touchdowns. Are we going to see more of that? More yards, more projection, attempts or carries? More? What are we going to see more of Puka that has, us excited that he's definitely here and arrived, that he's going to replace Cooper Kupp as the number 1 in this offense? Because when Cooper Kupp was the number 1 as that offense, we saw him put phenomenal, ridiculous numbers up in 2021 and like in 2022 in a second. Let's stay with Puka Nacua last year. He had 4 games where he finished outside the top 50. For a receiver 1, having 4 games outside the top 50 is pretty hard to swallow. Now, he did have 6 games inside the top 10, so there's opportunity for that improvement. As you talked to Chase, here's the upside. But when we saw Cooper Kupp have similar targets and be that number 1 receiver in this offense, Cooper Kupp in 2022 never finished outside the top 20. He only played 9 games. He got hurt in the 9th game. But he played 8 games. He was 3 times he was in the top 5, 6 times in the top 10, and 19 the other 2 times. I bring that up because the 9 games 2022 where the 30-year-old Cooper Kupp's getting so old now, he's starting to lose a step. That was what we saw kind of the floor. Now, 2023 last year, he comes back. In those 5 games towards the end of the season, when they're both both healthy from week 8 on, you only saw Puka Nacua get double-digit targets once. You saw Cooper Kupp get it 3 times. Now, it might be semantics where it's 1.5, 2 good targets, but that's the numbers we're looking at. And then it comes to how many top 5 finishes do they have? Cooper Kupp had 2 top 5 finishes during that time frame, while Puka only had 1. So there's a lot of things there where I'm looking at. I think Cooper Kupp is the 1A. Dan talked about 1A, 1B. I think Cooper Kupp is the 1A until I see him not healthy. And everything I've heard is offseason is there's no hamstring issues, there's no tightrope surgeries recovering from. That Puka Nacua is training with Cooper Kupp to get better shape. So I'm excited about Cooper Kupp because every time I've seen him on the field be healthy, he is a stud. And I think if anything, I might have him a little too low. Puka's awesome too, top 15, top 17. I have no problem arguing that. But as the guy who's been more receiver in the Rams, barring injury, I think it's still Cooper Kupp.
Okay, Bob. So let me know who you agree with more.
That was fairly compelling, Chris. It swayed me more than I expected. I'm still Team Puka, but I think I'm going to probably close the gap a little bit in my rankings.
Look at that. Look at that. Chris swaying the guess. Good work by you. I do want to add in here, it's not a small sample size we had last season where Puka Nacua was still outscoring Cooper Kupp. And Kupp at 31 years old, yes, he's in great shape now. We haven't gotten training camp yet. So this all may change coming up. But Chris, compelling points by you as to why Kupp is not in the dust. And I think that's more of an important point here. Now, I have him ranked at 22, but there's a lot of people ADP-wise who have Kupp at 22, but don't want to touch him. I'm not one of those people. If he falls to me in that 3rd round, I am hitting the hit button on Cooper Kupp for some of the reasons that Chris has been laying out.